Welcome to English BookCast. Today,
There.
we're diving deep into a fascinating and, at times, unsettling book.
Oh, okay.
Michael Newton's The Encyclopedia of Conspiracies and Conspiracy Theories.
Right. If you're at all intrigued by uncovering hidden stories, understanding the forces that shape our world,
Right.
make sure to join our English Bookcast channel and share this exploration with others. Your support helps us bring more deep dives like this to light.
Right. Yeah. So let's talk about this book, huh?
Okay, yeah.
It's quite the collection. It
Mhm.
really is. It covers such a broad range of alleged conspiracies. Like, we're talking about everything from significant historical events to intricate political machinations to more outlandish theories.
Yeah.
You know, it's a real snapshot of the human tendency to seek explanations,
Yeah.
sometimes in the shadows. So
Mm.
we've gone through this massive book, and
Mhm.
we've picked out some of the most compelling, thought-provoking, sometimes disturbing entries to talk about today. So, let's get right into it.
Okay.
Newton starts off with some surprising alleged CIA activities.
Oh, right. Okay.
Dusting a leader's clothes with depilatory powder to make his hair fall out. I mean, can you imagine?
It does make you wonder, like,
Yeah.
what kind of resources they were working with.
Yeah, exactly.
And it doesn't stop there. He talks about things like remote viewing, psychic intelligence gathering, even mind control experiments
What?
with LSD. And supposedly, they were developing hypnotized robot assassins.
Oh, wow. So it makes you think, after
Yeah.
Watergate, the Vietnam War, and those congressional hearings in '76 about
Yeah.
illegal domestic surveillance,
Right.
there was this moment where
Mhm.
the U.S. had to grapple with where the line was
Mhm.
between truth and illusion,
Yeah.
between a genuine conspiracy and just how government operates.
Like, was there even a line at that point?
Right, because there was a huge erosion of public trust in institutions.
Mhm. Right, exactly. So when things like this come to light,
Yeah.
it's natural to think, what else is going on?
Right, and he points out these weren't small-scale projects.
Right.
Untold taxpayer dollars were spent on these weird endeavors.
Right.
It makes you think about the allocation of resources and the priorities.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right, moving on.
Okay.
Newton introduces us to someone he calls one of the world's most notorious terrorists before Osama bin Laden.
Oh, wow.
This is Abu Abbas.
Oh, okay. I've heard of him.
And when you read about his life,
Yeah.
it's like a mirror of Middle East history.
Yeah.
Born in a Syrian refugee camp in 1948,
Mhm.
Experienced displacement following the creation of Israel.
Wow.
Studied at Damascus University, recruited by the Popular Front for the Liberation of Palestine in 1968. I mean, early life really shaped by displacement and political upheaval.
Makes sense.
Then it just goes on from there, you
Right.
know. Guerrilla training in the Soviet Union, joining the Palestine Liberation Front, intense conflicts in Lebanon.
Mhm.
Eventually, he aligns with Yasser Arafat and the PLO.
It's crazy how all these allegiances and conflicts all weave together.
Yeah. When you think about it, in the broader context,
Yeah.
individuals like Abbas become,
Yeah.
kind of central figures in these conflicts.
Mm.
He even allegedly planned the hang glider attack on an oil refinery in Haifa, Israel in '81. And then, after exile to Tunisia, he was elected to the PLO Executive Committee.
Wow.
But it's the 1985 Achille Lauro hijacking that really made him internationally known.
Oh, right. Yeah.
U.S. authorities identified Abbas as the mastermind behind it, and an American hostage was murdered.
Whoa.
What followed was just incredible. He negotiated the surrender of the hijackers and even accompanied them on a flight to Tunisia, but U.S. warplanes intercepted that flight.
Well, nay.
Abbas and the hijackers taken into custody by Italy,
Yeah.
and then he was released to Yugoslavia a few days later.
Oh, so he escaped.
Well, yeah, sort of. He went to Baghdad.
Okay. Yeah.
And even though an Italian court later sentenced him to life in prison, he was at large for years.
Oh.
It really highlights the challenges of pursuing and bringing terrorists to justice.
It really does.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a tough world.
It is.
Okay. Let's get into something different,
Okay.
maybe more bizarre than politics.
Right.
Newton includes this entry about some disturbing practices in a religious sect in India and Nepal,
Okay.
using whiskey as a sacrament, which is unusual.
Oh, yeah. That's pretty unusual.
But then there's this guy, Gary Stevenson, also known as Kapal Nath,
Okay.
this 52-year-old American convert from Texas,
Mhm.
dreadlocks, tattoos,
Hmm.
playing tom-toms made from infant human skulls.
Ooh.
And he describes cooking human flesh.
Oh, my goodness.
I mean, it's
That's
disturbing.
That's really disturbing.
The way he describes it, too, he says he prefers a fresh body, maybe even an Israeli.
Oh, my God.
And he uses a big, big bucket of barbecue sauce, paintbrush, roller. Oh, come on. That's just so gruesome.
It's gruesome. It shows, like, the extreme fringes of human behavior and belief.
It really makes you think, like, where do we draw the line?
Right. What are the boundaries of religious practice?
Yeah.
And how can beliefs become so macabre?
That is a really great question. Okay, let's move on maybe to something a little lighter.
Okay. Well, maybe not lighter, but different. Newton's section on UFO sightings and alien abduction.
Oh, all right. I love this topic.
A topic that's fascinated and divided people for a long time.
It has.
He points out that reports of UFOs, or unidentified flying objects, have a really long history, going back centuries.
All right.
But the more recent accounts, especially those with alleged contact, seem to have gained more traction starting in the 19th century.
Oh, really?
And really took off after that.
Interesting.
One of the best-known cases, of course, is the alleged abduction of Barney and Betty Hill.
Yeah, right.
In September of 1961.
So well known.
It really entered public consciousness.
Yeah. What's so interesting is the missing time they reported.
Yeah.
That period during their drive they couldn't account for.
Right.
It was through hypnosis
Yeah.
that they later described being taken aboard a spacecraft and subjected to these medical examinations by these alien beings.
I see.
This wasn't just a personal experience, though. It was featured in Look magazine in '66.
Wow.
And then in John Fuller's book, The Interrupted Journey, it brought the whole idea of alien abduction to the mainstream.
It really did. That case kind of set a precedent for how these things were discussed.
Right. And then there was a TV movie, too.
Oh, yeah. The UFO incident.
Yeah. The Hill abduction story became this point of reference for later claims of alien encounters.
That makes sense, yeah.
Okay, so let's change gears a bit.
Okay.
Newton looks at the American Legion and some allegations of fascist leanings within certain factions.
Oh, wow. Okay, yeah.
He talks about this approach made to retired Major General Smedley Butler in July of 1933 by two prominent American Legion officials, William Doyle and Gerald McGuire.
Okay.
They wanted him to run for national commander, and they even offered to finance the whole campaign. But then they presented him with a speech to deliver.
Okay.
And this speech demanded that the U.S. return to the gold standard.
Interesting.
And Butler thought, this is not right for the American Legion. This is too political.
Makes sense.
So a year later, McGuire comes back to Butler
Oh, wow.
with a different message.
Oh, okay.
Now he's praising the role of veterans in the rise of fascism
Whoa.
in Germany and Italy. And then he asks Butler to lead a march of veterans on Washington.
What?
To stage a coup d'etat against FDR.
Whoa.
To save the U.S. from a communist menace.
Oh, my goodness.
It's pretty shocking, right?
Yeah,
To think that members of a veterans organization would even consider overthrowing the government.
Yeah, those were really tense times.
Yeah, the Great Depression.
Yeah.
It's a reminder
Yeah.
that even within patriotic organizations, there can be these undercurrents of radical ideology.
Makes sense, yeah.
Right.
Okay.
And just because this plot didn't actually happen doesn't make the claims any less significant.
Absolutely not, yeah.
Okay, so let's move on to a topic with real long-term health consequences.
Okay.
The asbestos industry cover-up.
Right, yeah.
Newton lays out this disturbing timeline of acknowledged wrongdoing.
Okay.
There's this quote from a South Carolina judge in 1978 that acknowledges a conscious effort by the industry in the 1930s to downplay or arguably suppress information about the dangers of asbestos.
Oh, wow.
The whole motivation was to avoid lawsuits.
Right, of course, yeah.
It's a real example of profits over people.
It really is.
And then in '79, the EPA announces their intention to ban asbestos, but then Johns Manville filed for bankruptcy in '82
Oh, wow.
because of all the lawsuits.
Right.
And the EPA's proposed ban doesn't come until '86.
Oh, so 7-year delay.
7 years.
That's a long time.
Yeah. It makes you wonder about the power of the asbestos industry.
It does, yeah.
And even with the ban, the health consequences were already out there.
It's really a tragic example of corporate greed.
Right. When you think about it, it's a reminder of what happens when corporations suppress information about health risks.
Absolutely.
Okay, so Let's look at John Ashcroft and civil liberties.
Oh, okay.
When he was Attorney General under George W. Bush,
Right, okay.
he was all about pursuing terrorists after 9/11. But Newton points out this contradictory action he took on December 7th, 2001.
Yeah.
He forbade FBI agents from checking the names of suspected terrorists against federal firearms purchase records.
Wow, that's surprising.
I know, right? Matthew Nosenchuk, a former Justice Department attorney,
Yeah.
accused Ashcroft of basically siding with the gun lobby. And what's really interesting is Ashcroft's approach to government transparency.
Oh, okay.
Back in '98, he was criticizing Janet Reno for withholding information from Congress. And then in 2002, he does the same thing.
Oh, so he did the exact same thing.
Yeah. The House Judiciary Committee chairman was even concerned about it.
It makes you wonder.
Right. And Ashcroft responded to concerns about his policies by basically saying that fears about loss of liberty would only aid terrorists.
Oh, so he used fear
Yeah.
to shut down debate.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he resigned in January of 2005. His time as Attorney General really sparked a lot of debate about the role of government and civil liberties,
Yeah.
especially after 9/11.
Definitely a very complicated issue.
It's a tough one. It's about finding the right balance
Yeah.
between security and freedom.
Absolutely, yeah.
All right, let's talk about another instance of alleged FBI misconduct.
Oh.
This time, it's about the BIP B case.
The 16th Street Baptist Church bombing
Yes,
in 1963.
a terrible tragedy.
Newton describes the long road to justice with the convictions of Thomas Blanton in 2001.
And Bobby Cherry in 2002. But he also talks about the outrage expressed by Bill Baxley, a former Alabama Attorney General, because the FBI suppressed recordings and evidence that could have led to earlier convictions.
Oh, wow.
Baxley asked, what excuse can the FBI have for allowing Mr. Blanton to go free for 24 years with this smoking gun evidence hidden in its files?
It's hard to imagine. 24 years.
Yeah.
That's a long time.
It's a long time. And those tapes, if they had been available,
Yeah.
they could have secured a conviction in the 1977 prosecution of Robert Chambliss.
Well.
John Young, the former Assistant Attorney General, remembers the FBI denying they had any more evidence during that trial.
Oh, wow.
Even Louis Freeh, the former FBI director, called the BIP Barambi case a disgrace to the FBI.
Yeah.
He said it could have been prosecuted in '64.
Oh, wow.
The evidence was there.
It really makes you think
Yeah.
about the potential for these agencies to obstruct justice.
Yeah, to suppress key evidence.
Yeah.
It's a powerful reminder of that.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on.
Okay, so let's look at the BCCI scandal.
Oh, right. The Bank of Credit and Commerce International.
Newton describes it as a truly global operation with some really troubling criminal practices.
Yeah.
It was operating in 73 nations.
Wow, 73 nations.
73 nations.
That's a lot.
And it was known for bribing officials all over the place.
Yeah.
It first got into trouble in '88 in Florida for money laundering. But even then,
Yeah?
the full scale of its activities wasn't clear.
Okay.
It was involved in infiltrating and even owning U.S. banks.
Oh, wow.
It's crazy.
That's a pretty big deal.
Yeah, Newton has this whole list of countries
Yeah.
where BCCI was taking advantage of corruption, from Argentina, Bangladesh to Nigeria, Pakistan, Yemen, and so many more.
Wow.
It's really incredible.
Yeah. So they were a truly global organization.
Yeah, it shows how easily large financial institutions can engage in criminal activity.
Yeah.
And the challenges of regulating them.
It really is.
Right.
It highlights the importance of international cooperation
Yeah, absolutely.
in financial oversight.
Okay,
Good
let's talk about the Big Seven crime syndicate.
Okay.
This was kind of a precursor to the mafia that we know today.
Right. Yeah.
So, Prohibition actually helped create the first national crime syndicate in the U.S.
Oh, really? Okay.
All these bootlegging gangs
Yeah.
started to work together to make more money and avoid violence.
Okay.
And in 1926 and 27, this experimental prototype emerged on the East Coast.
Okay.
The Big Seven.
Okay.
They brought together some really notorious figures.
Okay. So who are we talking about?
Well, there's the Bug-and-Meyer mob, Bugsy Siegel and Meyer Lansky,
Right.
the New York Mafia,
Yeah.
Lucky Luciano and Johnny Torrio.
Mm-hmm.
You've got the Joe Adonis gang, the Northern New Jersey gang with Abner Longies Willman and Willie Moretti, Southern New Jersey's Nucky Johnson, New England's Charles King Solomon, working with Joseph Kennedy,
Whoa.
and the Philadelphia Syndicate, Max Boo Boo Hoff, Harry Bitts, and Samuel Nig Wexler.
Wow.
It's quite a lineup.
There's a huge list of names.
Yeah. And Newton points out that this Big Seven group was the foundation for later crime conventions
Okay.
in the late 20s and early 30s, which really solidified nationwide criminal alliances.
I see.
And they helped ensure Lucky Luciano's victory in his 1931 war to modernize the mafia.
So they had a lasting impact on organized crime.
Huge impact.
Huge impact. Wow.
They got rid of the old guard,
Okay.
Mustache Pete's, and they allowed for more collaboration with non-Italians, like Lansky and Siegel.
Right.
Many of these figures remained dominant forces in organized crime well into the 50s,
Yeah.
even beyond, like Meyer Lansky. So,
Yeah.
the Big Seven, really critical step in the evolution of organized crime.
It is. It really is.
Okay, so let's talk about a contemporary and secretive organization.
Okay.
The Bilderberg Group.
Oh, right. Yeah.
It's the subject of so much speculation and conspiracy theories.
Yeah.
So Newton describes it as an exclusive private organization, bringing together powerful people from North America and Europe, leaders in business, politics, finance, academia. You have people like Bill Clinton, David Rockefeller, Henry Kissinger, Donald Rumsfeld, Henry Ford II.
Wow. That's a big list of powerful people.
Yeah, I mean, very influential people connected to major governments and institutions all over the world. What fuels the conspiracy theories is the secrecy.
Oh, right. Yeah.
They have their annual meetings behind closed doors.
Yeah.
No minutes released, discussions are confidential.
Mm-hmm.
It makes people wonder, what are they talking about?
It makes sense why. There were so many theories.
What are they deciding?
Yeah.
What agreements are they making? It's
Right.
understandable whether their aims are good or bad. The secrecy makes them a target.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, let's move on to some connections that raised eyebrows after 9/11.
Oh, okay.
The Bush bin Laden family ties.
Right.
Yeah.
And the BCCI connection.
Okay.
So the bin Laden family, obviously very prominent in Saudi Arabia,
Mm-hmm.
with Osama bin Laden being the founder of Al-Qaeda.
Right.
Newton highlights these strong economic ties between the Bush and bin Laden families
Oh, interesting.
for over a decade,
Okay.
which came to light during the BCCI conspiracy.
Right.
He talks about James Bath, this Houston businessman
Okay.
who was a major BCCI stockholder and a friend of George W. Bush.
Okay.
According to Time magazine, Bath made his fortune by investing money for Sheikh Khalid bin Mahfouz and for another BCCI-connected Saudi, Sheikh bin Laden.
Oh, wow. That's quite a connection.
Osama bin Laden's father.
Yeah.
And this connection goes back to the 70s.
Wow.
Newton points out that one of the firms that received bin Laden money in 1977 was Arbusto Energy, which was founded by George W. Bush.
Oh, okay.
And then a decade later, both Bush and Bath were involved with Harkin Energy.
And Salem bin Laden, Osama's brother, helped negotiate access to oil fields in Bahrain for Harkin,
I see.
which led to another, what Newton calls multi-million-dollar windfall for the Bushes.
So you're saying there were significant financial ties.
Yeah, between these two families, one a major political dynasty, the other the family of a notorious terrorist.
Yeah, it really does raise some uncomfortable questions.
It does. And then you add the BCCI connection on top of that,
Right.
with its own criminal activities.
Yeah, it's a complicated story.
It's very complicated. Okay, so building on that,
Yeah.
Newton delves into these claims made by CIA and FBI insiders
Okay.
about White House orders to back off the bin Ladens. Soon after Bush's inauguration in 2001,
Right.
they say they received direct orders to ease up on scrutinizing the bin Laden family.
Oh, wow.
But it's not clear if this included Osama.
I see. So it's a bit of a gray area.
Yeah. But regardless, the global manhunt for Osama bin Laden didn't seem to improve under Bush.
Oh, wow. So no real change there.
Not really.
Yeah.
And even after 9/11,
Yeah.
when the U.S. invaded Afghanistan
Mm-hmm.
to go after al-Qaeda, bin Laden escaped. And then there were White House announcements saying his capture wasn't a priority.
Oh, so
Oh.
mixed messages
Yeah.
from the White House.
Yeah. And get this. There was even a plan considered to kill bin Laden with a drone strike in January 2001.
Wow.
But it was aborted.
So, again,
Yeah.
unclear why.
Yeah, we don't know why. These claims, if they're true, they really fuel speculation about the Bush administration's approach to bin Laden,
They do.
especially before and after 9/11.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go back to the civil rights movement in the South
Okay.
and look at the Birmingham Police Department.
All right.
and how they played a role in enforcing segregation.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Newton paints a picture of a police force that was very much part of the racist power structure,
Okay, yeah.
like other police departments in the South. They served the interests of the powerful figures. In Birmingham, it was the big mules, the industrialists.
Oh.
And they suppressed labor unions,
Yeah.
targeted anyone labeled a communist,
Yeah.
and enforced segregation.